Yeah. I can't.
Hello, ladies. How are you doing? Welcome
Hi,
to
good.
Speak Up and Empower. It's wonderful to see you. Oh, great to have a conversation with you. Um, Thanks so much for joining
Okay.
us. I'm going to name is Sherry Savell, and I'm also Jody Harbor's sidekick. And we are part
Oh,
of Grandmother's Voice. We're so thrilled, absolutely thrilled to have two of the Bingo Grannies with us. Thanks again to Speak Up and Empower for giving us this opportunity to have these discussions and having a space for us to just come together and talk. Last
yeah.
night, I don't know if you know, but last night we had grandmother Renee and Neil, grandfather Neil, talking about humor and how humor gets us through these very difficult times. Not only when we were younger, but also during this crazy situation that we're in the pandemic. So I just want to turn it over to you, ladies, and if you could introduce yourselves, that would be lovely.
Go
You
ahead,
go
sis.
first.
Oh, my name's Yvonne Hill. I'm one of the grannies. And I guess you want to know a little bit about me, right? I was born on Six Nations. I'm the oldest of seven of us. I have 4 children and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren. Yes. And my life was dysfunctional. I grew up in a dysfunctional home, alcohol, drugs, and as a result, I became an alcoholic. But in my late 30s, I started a healing journey. I went to treatment, 2 or 3 different treatment centers, and then finally I made my way to Buffalo, and that's where my journey really began, was in Buffalo. On from there, I I worked with a lot of elders. I worked in nursing home for many years. Then I went back to school and I became a addictions counselor, and I worked in different treatment centers and counseling with women in Peterborough, and worked with the youth, and yeah, my journey's been really good, and I really admire the elders and young people and little people. Like I was telling my sister a story the other day. I would like to share about was non-native, and I'm proud that you have my dad, and my mom got too tired. But one day my son, because I used to not say too nice things about white people, right? And one day my son, he said to me, he says, Mom, he looked at me and he says, Mom, do you love me? And I got tears in my eyes, like I'm going to do now. And I said, of course I love you. He said, do you love your grandchildren? I said, of course I'd love them. Why are you asking me these things? And he says, well, Mom, every time you call a white person down, you're calling me down. You're calling your grandchildren down, and you're calling yourself down. It took a child to teach me that lesson. So we need to listen to our little people too, and our elders. They got so many lessons to tell us. But now we can laugh about that, We can laugh about that time. And I'm proud to be half native and half non-native. That's who I am, and I love being that person today, because there was a time when I didn't. But I don't like laughing. So this is a bit about me. Then I'll turn it over to my sister here.
Yes, Teresa.
Hi, my name's Teresa. Let me see what's about me. I've lived on this reserve my whole life. I'm a Mohawk woman. I have I have 4 children, 3 daughters, and a son. My son, he went on to meet the Creator. Um, and I've been in the counseling field for 20 plus years. And I started out in the school system, and I started out with the youth. And it's funny, when I first started working, I said I didn't want to work with teenagers because they got such attitudes. And here, that's where I was placed, and I loved it there. And then they moved me to another school where I had to work from kindergarten to grade 8, and so I, started with the little guys, age 5, and moved around. And after that, I went to addictions, alcohol and drug center, and then I moved to special needs, working with them, and then adults, and working at Gwinnett with family assault services, and then did some programs there with the men. That was rewarding. Well, all my jobs were rewarding. I liked it. I loved my job. It wasn't a job. It's just something you feel in your heart. You want to help, right? So and then from there, I start working with the elders. And when this whole COVID thing hit, that's when I was working with the elders at the time. So I feel like I come full circle, working with all ages and all groups, and it's been very rewarding at times and stressful at times. Your job can be stressful, but I love it. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, like last night we were having, like I said, we had Renee and Neil on there, and we were just talking about remember when, and
Yes.
just want to kind of go into a little bit of that, like maybe just take a little bit of time about remember when, and then we'll talk a little bit more about why the Bingo Grannies, what that name how that name came about, and maybe some lessons that you've learned along the way. I just want to just kind of open up here, and to talk about that remember when. And I said this last night too. I said, like, I remember when I was younger and I'd go and visit my granny with my mom and my siblings, and all our aunties would stop by and share stories of when they were younger and all the fun they had with their friends, and even some of the trouble that they got themselves into, some of the parties they may have gone to, and the tricks that they would play on each other. And it was always so much fun to hear them. And I said I could hardly wait. And when I remember, I could hardly wait to grow up and do some of those fun things that my aunties were talking about. And my mom always tried to shoo us away, to go and play with our cousins. But man, I just want to just sit there with my mom and my aunties and have tea, right? And by the time we would leave my granny's house, there'd be like 15 tea bags in that teapot, because every came with another tea bag and another pot of water. And so I just want to kind of go back there and, and maybe just share one of those remember when stories that you remember growing up, and maybe with your Doda and your aunties and your cousins.
I'll let Yvonne start then, because she's older than me.
But I know I look younger. Oh. I guess my stories of with my grandma and my aunties. I love and I respected every one of my aunties, my uncles, my grandma. Those were probably the best days of my life, spending time with them. And grandma, she never ever.
We seem to be having some trouble, Yvonne, with
she never really had to raise her voice. voice much at me. She just kind of had to look. And I knew it was time to do dishes, you know. My grandma was a Christian lady, and I would sit by her chair and she'd read the Bible to me and tell me stories from the Bible. And I remember those things even now when I'm growing up. That one thing she used to always say to me was, Yvonne, you get your dishes done and you'll have, you know, and it didn't just apply, get your job done and you'll have, you know, and don't just fiddle.
Hello.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I just wanted to tell a story about, so they had to walk. And I know this isn't true to wear. So when they got to the, and they were warm. So mom said, from start going through the field, and my mom, and then she'd stand a little while till they got hard and she'd wear them for her shoes. I said, oh, Mom, you're never dead. But that was some of her funny stories she would tell, you know. And then Grandma and Grandpa, when they didn't want us to hear what they were saying, they'd start talking Indian this time, you know. So, but there was so many memories. I could sit here and write a book about them all, you know. But I don't know, I just can't stress all the lessons we learn from each other and from our children and from our elders. And, you know, and I was always taught to give respect. And I don't, like, I don't care if it's a prostitute on the street or a drug addict or who. You give that person respect, and that may help them one day to start their healing journey, you know. Smile at it, ask, how are you today? You know, do up their coat. I've done up many coats for people walking across the street in the winter time. I've given people money just out of the kindness of my heart, you know, not expecting anything in return. So it should be. That's what my grandma taught me, and my aunties, my mom. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the way it should be. Looking after each other, looking after every single human, right?
Yeah, for sure. And animals. Like, I'm an animal lover. So yeah. They call me Dr. Doolittle.
I have a friend whose name is Doug Doolittle.
Oh, cool. So I'll let my sister share some of her stories too.
Please do.
Yeah.
Okay, some of my stories, I remember going to Hamilton to visit my aunt, my mom's sister, and she was like an extended mom, right? Your aunties become your extended mother when mom's not around. So I remember her making a Afghan. She would crochet, and it was really thick and warm, and she'd give it to me, and I still have that today. But I don't know. Some of my, I can't remember too much lessons that I learned, other than because we grew up in a alcoholic home. I remember just thinking to myself, I don't want to be like this. She's teaching me how not to be in those days. But she did sober up. My mom did sober up and became an alcohol and drug counselor herself. And I think that's why she instilled that in me somehow, in my heart, to want to help people. All my sisters are counselors, actually, so we all kind of followed after her in a good way.
Yeah. It's one of those things too that I think having Indigenous blood, right? I too am British. My father came from England, and my mother is Cree from Treaty 6 territory. And just having both of those, but also having that whole stereotypes and racism placed against Indigenous people. And of course, back then we were called Indians. And, you know, and from my mom is a residential school survivor too. So it's also having that intergenerational trauma in our family, that there was alcohol in our family as well. And you know, and some of the things that, you know, and it's not fun growing up in a home like that. But one of the things that I did talk to my sisters about, I said, like, I still, to this day, I still use that pine sol to clean my house, because it was one of those familiar smells to me, that the pine sol, when I smelled pine sol walking into the house, I knew that they had sobered up.
Mm.
So, but my sister says, I hate that smell of pine salt. And I told her, I said, it just
Yeah.
smells that makes me feel okay. And now everything is okay now. Right.
Yeah.
We get through an awful lot of, like, my sister is, all my sisters are such wonderful humans. And when I go home, I miss my home so much. From Saskatchewan. And when I do go home, oh my gosh, the laughs that we have, and just remembering, and the belly laughs, and you're laughing so hard, your belly is hurting and you are crying, right? And your cheeks are so sore. And that's what was last night about, the cheeks being sore and the laughter in our bellies was just such wonderful medicine. And, Renee and Neil were saying, like, when we laugh an awful lot, we also build up our immune system. And that's what's good with Indigenous humor. Like, we are humorous, right? And you ladies are so humorous. I saw you guys at a Red Barn production back, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 years ago over at Polytech. And oh my, like, just the things that you guys were talking about and saying to each other it just warmed my heart. And so that's why we're so thrilled for you guys to open up our speaker series. You'll be opening up on Sunday for our speaker series, and you'll be in your sauna and introducing people and telling them to come in and get out and things like that. But I want to know a little bit more about how you guys got together, and how you became like bingo grannies, and went on, like, and you started kind of doing different things in the community. I'm really curious about that.
Okay, well, it started I'd say 20 years ago. I was working in the school system, and Great sponsored the program, and we brought in a speaker. I forget his name now. I'm sorry, it was many years ago, but he taught us. It was all about knowing who you are. He was teaching us how to get us to know who we are. We were at the museum at the time where our training was, and he said, go through the museum, because he asked that question to the group, and there had to be 25 of us. Who are you? What are you about? And nobody could answer it, really. Nobody would answer. So he took us to the museum. He said, look at all the artifacts there. And he says, and we did that. We came back and he asked us that question again. And so we start talking about the art that we do, and some of the language, and the regalia, the dances, and the ceremonies that we have. And that's all part of who we are. And so from there, he talked about being present. When you walk into a room, he says, people sent your presence. And I didn't know what he was talking about at the time. And as he kept talking, and he said, when you realize who you are, you create that presence. And people know when you walk into a room, they'll turn around and will look at you. And so that's what the whole purpose of the skits and the motivational speaking that he had us do. And I remember watching on YouTube these two old ladies, and I thought it was so funny. And so I suggested, well, let's do something like that. We'll dress up as old women, and we'll talk with broken English, and we'll just like two grandmas together, right? So and bingo is so common among Native people. We'll do a bingo skit. And so it was so funny. And we just continued from there. Different agencies start calling us and asking us, well, can you do something around diabetes, or can you do something around bullying, and so we just put our heads together and made up some skits, and that's how we got started. But yeah, and we've been going strong ever since. And there's been a number of different people that come and gone. Like Jane Burning is one of our grandmas. She's been helping a lot. Leanne Blackbird, she couldn't be with us today because she's at another meeting, but she's been a steady. Jane's sister Michelle and their brother Darren, and different community members, men that have jumped in, and Carmen, he was one.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
It's been good.
Mm-hmm.
We've had some really good shows. The one that really stands out for me is one that we've done at the Sanderson Center.
Yeah.
We did a spin-off of the dating game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was the MC, and we had 4 ladies that were the bachelorettes. I think it was
Yeah.
Yvonne and Jane and Leanne and Michelle, and our the other guy, it was Frank McNaughton, and we give everybody different names, right? Right. And we called him Frank Dishwater. And he still has that name. You see him in the community, it's, hey, Dishwater.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been funny.
Yeah.
Do you guys write your own
We
skits?
actually, too, we did some funny thing to go to Hawaii. We went to Hawaii. We
Yes.
took our show to Hawaii at I think it was an education conference or something like that. But
Yeah.
me and Jane and Michelle and Yvonne did some fundraising to go.
Yeah.
That was awesome. So we did some traveling with our bingo ladies.
Yes.
We never thought we would. We opened up a couple shows for John Burnstick, and that was
Oh my
awesome.
gosh. That is fun. That is amazing.
Yeah.
And you guys write your own skits?
Yes. Yeah, we make up our own skits. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And
Yeah.
it is, and it is beautiful with the laughter and the humor, and especially with you know, when I've seen Don Burnstick live, and man, oh man, you know, it's like he's talking to the aunties, right? You know, when he talks about 5 different ways that you know, Indigenous women laugh, right? That's so funny too, that we put our head back and we
Yeah.
and it's just so much fun, you know, and we really need this humor around this time as well. Everybody's finding different ways of trying to cope, and things that we really wanted to do was to create some sort of speaker series that we could bring people together, but also be able to create a sense of community, that we would be able to be together, have discussions, but more importantly, learn from each other and support each other. And one of the things that we really wanted to do with our speaker series was bring so many people together. I think we have almost 9 weeks, twice a week of speakers coming. And I think you guys are going to be on intermittently. Like, I think there's 3 times that you're coming on, just to bring it back, you know, bring back the humor and bring back, and most of our speakers will be, you know, will offer certain things, but, you know, but it's the humor that's there. And Jane is actually one of our speakers.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think Carmen is too.
We're gonna roast him really good.
We're gonna roast them down. Yeah.
So just for our listeners, we have about 7 minutes left, and just for our listeners, like just so that they know how this is going to go, our speaker series. So on Sunday, January 19th, I think it is, on Sunday at 1 o'clock, the Bingo Grannies, we're going to introduce the Bingo Grannies, and the Bingo Grannies going to come on. And then they're going to have maybe about 5 or 10 minutes just to maybe do a little skit, something that you've done before. And then everybody that we have on the speaker series has a time. And so they're going to come in and out. So then you'll call, we have a schedule, and so you'll call them like, hey, whatever, however you want to introduce them, even if you want to introduce them as Dishwater Head. You know, because I think most of you, I think you'll know most of the speakers that are coming in. And, you know, so I just want to just let you guys know that you ladies know that this is how it's going to, how it'll play. But, you know, because you know your material better than anybody, that you are the experts when it comes to Bingo Grannies and the skits and really making fun and having fun, isn't it? It's all about having fun.
Yeah, having fun. Yeah.
Yes, it is all about having fun.
For sure. That's what keeps us healthy. Laughter keeps us.
Yeah.
I had a major heart attack 2 years ago, and here I still am because of laughter. I had pneumonia. I'm still here because of laughter. My sister my family, they wouldn't let me get depressed. Not one of them. No, they're all there for me, trying to make me laugh. They got these goofy pictures when I was in a hospital. I didn't even know they took them. But yeah, I thank my family and my friends and their humor for bringing me through that time in my life, and all my little people. I want to say two little names, if I can, my two little nieces. One is Violet and her sister Olivia. I just want to say hello to them. And Aunt, I love all my nieces and nephews. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And Teresa, you want to add anything in there of, anything?
I'm stuck right now.
We learned from Neil, and you guys were there the other day when we were out on Six Nations at Ancestral Voices, and Neil was joking around and he says, I'm going to teach you a new word. I'm going to teach you that Ojibwe word, Jamawin, right? And then we're kind of, what? And then people that play bingo, it actually means, did your ma win? Right? And we just killed ourselves laughing so hard, right? Did your ma win? And it did work, right? Because I've been to bingo. I'm not a bingo player, but every once in a while I'll go with my sisters. And I went to a time in Winnipeg with a sister of mine. And in the middle, there's people who are selling certain things during intermission, right? And so you go outside and you can buy different things from the people outside. And it was just something that I've never experienced before, that I could buy meat and I could buy a jacket and I could buy knives, and so it was really an experience for me, just being bingo. And I bingo's more than just dabbing, right? So bingo is about creativity and making sure that people are able to make a living as well. So it's lovely. I brought my two aunties to the bingo hall on Six Nations, and they just couldn't believe how high tech it was, right? And it was just amazing. And
I know.
Bingo barn, burger barn after. And my aunt ate her cheesecake for 2 days. So wonderful. And it's wonderful to be on Six Nations too, because I feel like that's my second home. And I just love being out there.
Right. Good. And we're happy to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, did you ladies want to say anything else? We have like 2 minutes left before I'm going to have to let you guys go. And I think we've kind of covered some stuff, but did you want to say anything? Maybe a message of hope to some of the people that may be listening, as far as, we're going under another stay-at-home order here in Ontario.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Just because we're under this COVID thing again, just stay strong and support one another and hang in there.
Call each other up. Be strong. Pray. Depend on your Creator God. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And just love each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so true. And make sure, people out there too, that if you do need anybody, that please take Yvonne's suggestions and her advice to please call. There's always people out here to listen, to take your call, to be there and to be supportive of one another, because this is difficult times for everybody. And we can gather in this form as well, and to offer humor, offer support, offer love, and then just be in spirit and community together.
Yeah. I guess I just wanted to add that you can contact us, contact me through Facebook if you want to show.
Yeah.
Nice. Wonderful. And that's Teresa Thomas on Facebook, as well as Yvonne. I want to thank you ladies so much. I'm really looking forward to seeing you on Sunday, being part of the speaker series. It's uplifting so many people, and we had so many wonderful comments last night on Facebook. And and of course on the platform. And again, thank you so much to Speak Up and Empower for giving us this platform. And we'll see you ladies on Sunday.
Okay. Bye now.
Bye. Love you.
Oh.